Hi, this is Brett, and I'm here with Sandy again. So how are you, Sandy?
Morning, Brett. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Pretty good. Yep. It's not morning here, but yeah, it's pretty cold though. We've had a lot of snow the last
Yeah,
few
that's
days,
cool.
and yeah. So
You
so
don't
sat in my
normally, right?
no, I think the last time was maybe 2 or 3 years ago that we had any form of snow that settled. So it's
Wow.
it's been pretty good, especially in lockdown and the kids
Mm.
being able to do something. So
Oh, that's nice. Well, one winter when I was there, it snowed, and that was really nice to walk around in the fields and the footpaths and the canals and everything in the snow.
yeah, yeah, definitely good. So what are we talking about this week?
Well, we're in Social Squared month this month of February, so we've got a new release coming out, and so we wanted to talk about discussion forums in general, I think, today, and then we'll move on to what's going to be new in Social Squared.
Yeah, cool. So Social Squared, yeah, as you mentioned, is a discussion board tool, and yeah, people use discussion boards all the time. So what we're doing here with Social Squared is bringing that kind of discussion board functionality into the SharePoint and also into the Teams environment.
Mhm. And this has
But
been around for a long, long time, right?
yeah, absolutely. I think where it started was back in early SharePoint on premises days. There was and still is the SharePoint discussion list, and
Mhm.
there was quite a few sort of. I guess it wasn't as feature rich as what people would be experiencing out on the internet as far as a discussion board was concerned. So either users didn't quite get it or it just wasn't rich enough in the functionality around discussion board.
Mm.
So that's what we created back for SharePoint on premises, and Social Squared has sort of iterated through every single different SharePoint on premises release, and it was actually the first app as an add-in in the app catalog
I remember that.
when with Microsoft 365, and then I think it's one of the first SPFX applications in the app catalog as well. So yeah, it is a discussion board SPFX app that will work inside of Teams and also inside of SharePoint as well. So
Mm.
you get that modern experience, and also on the mobile phone as well. So
Mhm.
we used to have a actual Social Squared mobile phone app, but now because the Teams app is so good and the SharePoint app is so good with SPFX, it works really well in that
Mm.
circumstance.
Cool.
So that's great. But I think you wanted to talk about what is a discussion board.
Right. Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because yeah, if you want to give sort of an analogy.
Yeah, okay. So, well, I think you're a bit of a car nut as well, Sandy, right?
Yeah.
Somewhat.
Maybe beer,
So,
beer maybe more so, but yeah.
beer, maybe. Okay. Well, yeah, you could apply this, I'm sure, to almost any subject at all. I am a car nut, but yeah, if you're into baking, if you're into
Mm.
cooking of any kind, if you're into knitting,
Mhm.
into going on holidays or whatever vacation, sorry, whatever it might be, or even technology, you will have at some point, I'm sure, come across discussion boards. And yeah, some place that I come up against them a lot. You might be driving in your car and you start to hear a strange noise, or you get a warning light come on. You're not quite sure what it is, or something like that. And yeah, you turn to Google. Usually before you go and visit a mechanic, because that's going to be expensive. So yeah, you turn to Google and say, yeah, I'm having this strange noise in my car, whatever. And of course, you're going to mention perhaps the year of the vehicle. You're going to mention the make and the model of the vehicle in your Google search, and more than likely, you're going to find that somebody else has had that same experience that you've had, and they've said, try doing this. And there's probably going to be several different suggestions from different people that have all experienced that problem. Some of them may be, smarter than others. Some of them may be specialists in that area, or that type of vehicle, and yeah, they come up with a really good response to what's wrong with your car. And sometimes it might be, yeah, you need to go and take it to a dealer, or sometimes it might be something, really, really simple that you could do and solve the problem. But either way, one of the good things about discussion board is the fact that you can do things like, if that happened to me and I posted the question, I could mark that as answered if somebody came up with a really good suggestion.
Mhm.
So when I'm that person that I've just, researched the problem on my car and I come across this thread, the first thing I'm going to try is the reply where that author of the post has marked it as answered, because that
Mhm.
worked for them. So that's the thing I'm going to go and try on my car and see if I can address that issue. But yeah, the really good thing about discussion boards is the fact that they are structured. So it might be that you're a member of a BMW car club or a Ford car club or Mercedes car club, whatever it might be, or maybe you're not even a member, but you're just researching it. When you get to those forums, they're going to be structured in a way that you can easily find the right place where you should post your question. So if you couldn't find the answer to your problem, if nobody else has experienced that warning light or that noise, whatever you're getting on your car, you could obviously go and navigate to the right forum and post your question there. So this is usually, if we take a BMW as an example, so on a user group site, you might have the different types of BMW. So you could have a 1 series, a 3 series, a 5 series, 7 series, and so on, maybe like X5 and what have you. And these will be all your different forum groups. But in each forum group, you'll be able to have a different forum. So there may be a forum on wheels and tires. There might be another forum on electronics, or another forum on aftermarket body kits, whatever it might be. There'll be a forum for that. So if you had an issue such as a wobbly wheel, just as an example, you're going to go in the wheels and tires forum, and that's where you're going to ask your question. Why is my wheel wobbling? And somebody can reply to your question there. So that's a really sort of helpful way of being able to structure it, and that means that you can go to the right place in order to ask your question, but also anybody that is maybe a expert in a particular area, because you may get experts in 3 series because somebody happens to have one and they know it inside out. They rebuilt their own 3 series, so they like to be helpful and respond to questions that come in with inside that particular forum, but point them at a BMW X5 and they may not have any idea because they've they've not had that experience. So so yeah, the subject matter experts are really useful inside those forums to answer questions, and also sometimes to help moderate as well those posts.
And they're usually kind of identified in some way in the forum, like this is a person who knows what they're talking about because they've got badges or lots of answers or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can see their how credible their answer is going to be based on how many questions have they responded to in the past and that type of thing. So yeah, really useful. Yeah. So I guess how does that apply to business? So
Right.
So Microsoft 365 and SharePoint on-prem, if you're using SharePoint on premises, is a obviously a business tool. And we have this discussion board software called Social Squared that, like we said, you could use inside of SharePoint or also Teams. And yet there is the discussion list that is still there. It's doesn't quite, I mean, that what we just described about the categories of forum groups and forums, that's one of the things that it does not do. So you can't create that structure, and that's actually one of the fundamental problems with using the discussion list.
And it really hasn't, the built-in discussion list really hasn't gone anywhere since like 2007 or 2000, maybe 2010, but it looks the same.
Yeah, it hasn't been modernized, that's for sure. There were many years where it didn't get changed. I think it was like between SharePoint 2003 and like SharePoint 2013 or something like that. And then they updated it slightly with some extra functionality, but it's still not quite there. So, but there are other tools that you get outside of the box with Teams and also Microsoft 365 that you can use as well, like you go into Teams, and every single channel in Teams, the first tab on the left hand side is the posts tab, and of course you can have discussions there. You could also use something like Yammer and have discussions within Yammer as well, but once again it's still not providing you that structure of forum groups and forums. So if you imagine going back to the BMW sort of scenario again, that I've got a problem with my 3 series, it's got the wobbly wheel, I could go to the posts tab and I could keep on scrolling to
Or
see.
even search. Yeah, but what are you going to
Yeah,
search for? Yeah.
exactly. So it becomes very difficult to sort of navigate to the most likely place where somebody's going to be asking that question. Uh,
Or be
so
able to post your own question and have it flag up to the people who can answer it for you. They might miss it in all the scrolling.
Yeah, yeah, exactly that. So applying it to business, it could be used for almost any type of project or subject. We're seeing a lot of people in the education space using Social Squared, but yeah, really, it's about, if you imagine a Teams channel that maybe for a project or something along those lines, yeah, you could define the forum groups and the forums within inside that Teams channel that would be helpful for posting questions or trying to research answers to questions and things like that too. One example might be just from a sort of technical Q&A type example. If you were maybe actually supporting some technology, it might be Microsoft 365 or it might be something completely different. So if it's Microsoft 365, you could, for example, have the forum groups as lots of different Office applications like Excel and Word and PowerPoint. It could also include like generic things like you forgot your password or whatever. So user account forum groups, and you can guarantee that somebody that is new to your organization is going to have all sorts of questions when they get their brand new laptop on their first day, and they've got questions about where do I find this piece of software, how do I log into this, and this is a place where they can not just go and ask questions, but they could also go and find the answers to some of these questions that are just going to keep on showing up for new users as they come in. So yeah, over time you're actually going to build up this really useful knowledge base that will help people.
Yeah, that's how a lot of our clients are using Social Squared. Or it might be another really common use case is HR, where the HR might have different forum groups and forums about benefits or different company policies and things like that. And people can go in and learn about that when they're new to the organization or ask questions as they go along. And you can, wherever you put the forum is restricted by whoever has permission to that team or that site. So you can give security to your forums. If certain ones should only be available to certain people, then you can do that way.
That's the best thing about this being in Microsoft 365 as well, is all that is done for you. It's quite a common question about how do I add new people to the forum? Well, you make them a Teams member, and there they have access to those forums and they can go and ask the questions there. If you want to create like an organizational wide forum group, then there's a couple of options. So Microsoft Teams, you can have up to 5 organizational wide teams where just by being a member of the tenant, you can go and access those teams, and therefore that would be a great place to add Social Squared as a discussion board. But you've also got it as a personal app as well, so you can go and access Teams. Access Social Squared from the left-hand panel within inside of Teams as well, and that's another great place where you can engage in different discussions with people across the board.
Yeah, that could be things like announcements and HR benefit questions and things that aren't private.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So if you want something that's private or specific, contextual towards a particular project or a department, then yeah, absolutely, you do it at the team level or the SharePoint site level, and all of your permissions and everything are controlled there. And how that works is that there's no secret. It's you add teams, you add Social Squared to Teams, and it will generate lists within inside the local site for that team. So right out of the box, it's only the members that will have access to the content. That as we mentioned last week, none of that content goes outside of the site, let alone your tenant. It's conversations that are taking place inside those SharePoint lists local to that team. And one of the other nice features as well, if you go even more granular than a team, is whether you're using SharePoint sites or a team in order to get involved in these conversations, is in a team you could have obviously different channels. So you've got the general channel, and then you could create some other channels as well. And each of those channels can point specifically at a forum group. So going with the BMW analogy again, if we had a BMW team, you could of course have your general channel, which has all of the different makes and models of BMW, but you could also have a 3 Series channel, and in there is a 3 Series forum group where you could go through and ask you questions specifically about the 3 Series there. So you'd see all the forums related to the 3 series. And in
Mhm.
SharePoint, you can do the same thing with pages. So you could add different pages that will show just certain forum groups. And that's not security, because again, it's who has access to the site or to the team, but it just makes it more intuitive. When you happen to be on a certain page, you can see questions that are being asked about that particular topic that you're on.
Yeah, really good point. And you could then add say you're in SharePoint, you could add a web part that shows all of the forum groups if some people want to see everything, not just their individual pages. So.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think discussion boards, they still have their place. They're it's a tool that's still used widely on the internet, and I guess a great way to sort of position it against some of the other social tools is, you will find BMW car clubs on Facebook,
Right.
and so on. So there will likely be a Facebook page, and in there, you're going to have people posting pictures of their BMWs and that sort of thing, and it's going to be potluck if you sort of scroll
Yep.
through that feed, find that somebody's had the same problem that you're experiencing on your BMW.
Yep.
So yeah, you'd still turn to the discussion forums if you were looking for a particular answer to a problem.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
So what have we got in store for this month with Social Squared? I guess we're going to be talking about that next week, right?
Right. Yeah. We have a new release coming out, and so next week we'll hit on some of the features of what are we adding to Social Squared, which has been this past year especially has really ramped up our development efforts in Social Squared, because so many more people are needing it working from home, and especially in the educational space. So that has prompted us to add a lot of more new features. So we'll talk about that and probably do some demos.
That sounds good. Looking
All
forward to
right.
it.
Yep. Okay.
Take
All
care.
right. Yep. You too. Bye.